Hey, welcome to Good Morning Retro. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nate, and today we are going to be talking about video game collecting tips.
Wake up!
Ryan, what's your collecting story?
I've been collecting about as long as I can remember. I've been a gamer since I was young, and I really got into collecting about the time that disc-based consoles were coming out. The cartridge stuff was so cheap back then, nobody wanted it, so I started taking it in. I focused mainly on the NES, but I've kind of acquired virtually everything over the years. So.
And I'm an NES guy. I've been collecting since 2007. I grew up with the NES, skipped so many systems, the Super Nintendo, GameCube, all of that stuff. Just really focused on the NES, and in 2007 a lot of the carts were pretty cheap, and started filling my walls with that stuff. So today we are talking about collecting tips. You know, it's a little strange to start collecting at this period, but it's not too late to start. I think a lot of people forget that you can just start whenever.
Yeah, it's not too late. It might be more expensive,
Yep.
But you can still do it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to share tip number one with you is to collect for you. I think that's really important, especially as you start getting involved in the community and start learning that there's other people just like you, because there are tons of them when you're going to conventions, YouTube, stuff like that. And it is just collecting for you. Find the things that excite you. It's very easy to fall into the trap to pick up things because other people are excited about it, and it's contagious. That's how collecting is. But then at the end of the day, you're stuck with a whole bunch of items that you're truly not excited about and not excited to collect for.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point. There are a ton of people out there like you. Don't ever feel like you're alone on that island, because you're not.
We were there for a long time.
And then we ran into each other. Who knew?
Through YouTube.
Yes, through YouTube. The power of the interwebs.
That's it.
So one other tip I'd like to share is just awareness. Collect for you. That's great. Collect the things you want to collect for. But start picking up that knowledge, start researching, start watching videos, whatever you need to do to kind of get an idea of what is more sought after, more valuable on all consoles and platforms, not just the things you might want to collect. Because as you're out looking and hunting, you're inevitably going to come by some of this stuff. And if you can get it at a deal, it's a great way to grab those things, even if you don't have the price memorized. If you have an inkling that it might be worth something, it's easier than ever to pull out your phone on the spot. Or even if you have a base, level knowledge, if you're paying a couple bucks for something and you have a feeling you're going to make some money on it, it's almost always worth grabbing, and you can turn around and trade those things or sell them for things you really do want. So build that knowledge, always be looking, and kind of look for those little pointers for what might be valuable.
Yeah, talking about money, budget is very, very important. So another collecting tip is set a budget, especially if you're starting in today's world. The days of going to a garage sale, spending $10 and coming back with 50 games, that's dead and gone. And so you really have to hunt, and you have to hunt smart with a budget. It's very, very easy to spend $50 on one game nowadays, which is kind of insane.
A quarter of a game, depending
even a quarter of a game. I think we used to set budgets of, I'm not spending more than $5 for an NES game.
Yeah.
And as we have collected together, we've seen just that number increase, where $10, now $15, now $20, and it keeps on going.
Yep.
And so it's so important just to set a budget. If it's going to break your family, don't do it.
Just don't do it!
And be smart with it. If you're buying lots, sell the stuff. Get that money. Don't use family money or anything like that. Build your collection in a smart way.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah.
The other thing is I think it's shifted. There's not as much of a stigma around gaming, but I think there's some apprehension as you get older, us being gamer adults and dads and career people, there's this tendency to want to not let people know that you're a giant dork collecting tons of retro video games, because not everyone gets the hobby, right? I would say let that fear go. I think you're going to find that if you open up to people and just casually, as conversations happen, if it gets worked in there and you let people know that you're a big fan of this and you're collecting it, you'd be surprised at how often you will connect with people, and how often those people, when they get to spring cleaning and want to get rid of some things, it finds its way to you, or you're going to get a killer deal. You're going to be the first person they contact. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. I wish I would have started letting people know sooner, because I hid it for a long time. Even in my house, I kept my game collection in a different room behind closed doors because I was embarrassed for even family and friends to come by and see a couple hundred Nintendo games, thinking it'd be crazy. But.
Right. And I actually had the polar opposite effect where I would tell everybody, and I reaped a lot of amazing things through that. Dreamcast stuff, a lot of NES games, and so I think, telling people that's a good tip. That's a really good tip. My final tip to share with you guys is collecting is a marathon, not a sprint. I think that's really important when we jump into something for the first time. We want to just buy everything. We're overly excited. We're spending too much money. And I think for probably Ryan and myself, some of the best parts of collecting is the story behind it. And there are games that I've passed up so many times because it wasn't that exciting to pick up. I wasn't with anybody. The price wasn't right. And so it's a long-term thing. I don't think there's ever an end, really. It's just taking your time through it and enjoying the whole trip of it. I think most of our collections, we can go through games and say, I got this with this person. I picked this up at this place. And I think, everyone could go to eBay. You could buy a whole collection today if you wanted to, but it's not that fun to do it that way. So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the last thing I would say is, as we've been talking through this, we kind of mentioned how we met. You get to know others in the community. You talk to people about it. So my last tip and my last piece of advice for collecting is to, always be generous and fair to those around you in the community.
That's a good one.
Whether they're friends or acquaintances. If you give people deals on things that you didn't pay a ton of money for, and you treat them well and you're polite, it'll always come back to you. They'll keep you in mind when they've got something that they know you're looking for. So be fair to each other. I mean, don't give stuff away, but give deals to your buddies. Yeah, bro price. We do it all the time.
Bro price.
And don't be afraid to trade somebody something with nothing in return right away. Yep. Because it almost always comes back to you.
I think you and I do that all the time.
Yeah, if we had a tab, I don't even know where we'd end up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've picked up stuff from your collection. You picked up mine. I think just a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at getting rid of some Nintendo Wii games.
Yes.
And I took a picture and I said, hey, any of these you need? You said, I want this Mario Strikers, and brought it to you and just gave it to you. I think we've done that enough where we're probably even, maybe.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. I mean, I don't even know how much stuff we've traded back and forth, but it's been a lot.
Cash is definitely not exchanged.
Exactly.
So, those are our collecting tips. Tell us what your collecting tips are down in the comments below. We're a community. We're here to support one another and help one another. I actually remember mentioning in a video a long time ago that I wanted to complete my Mega Man set. And there was a guy that watched the video. Yeah, watched the video or in Twitter. I think it was down in Kansas. The dude sent me up Mega Man 1 for super, super cheap.
Yeah,
and it allowed me to complete my set. So that was really, really awesome. So help people out.
And it doesn't mean you have to have a YouTube channel. It certainly helps to get the word out there, but you can just have those sort of situations come up, in person. So YouTube helps though.
Do it. Collecting tips. Here we go. Well, friends, let us know down below, comments, just collecting tips. Make sure you like this video, all of those things. And we don't have an end slogan to this show yet, but help us out with that as well. So keep your mugs upright.
That's the best you've got.
That's the best that I got.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.